Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. I sincerely apologize for the wait on this. Finals and just school in general has really kept me busy. I hope you understand. I don't have too many pre-thoughts, just that there might be a few editing mistakes, which I'm really sorry for. As always, there will be concept art at the end of the video, so stick around for that and enjoy!
When he opens his eyes, Tsukishima's laid down on the floor of a tan room. He rises slowly, immediately recognizing the striped bedsheets and small succulent on the window frame. Yamaguchi? He glances to the bed. It's made neatly, not a person on it. He walks across the room, feeling the fuzzy brown carpet underneath his feet, and opens the fairy light-rimmed door. Instead of the normal muted colors of his friend's house, the walls are painted a bright yellow, the floor tiles a dark green, and the furniture is all white. He steps through the hallway, admiring the almost hideous decor. Every door he passes is wide open, and the kitchen is just as empty as the rest of the rooms. He looks to the front door, his shoes aren't there. He's about to turn back, see if he has his phone, when a crash is heard from the other side of the house. He paces across the kitchen and looks to where the sound came from. Shattered, across the green rug of the living room, is a large brown flower pot. Dirt lines the surrounding walls and petals decorate the furniture. He's about to step forwards when another sound makes itself known. Oh no! Tsukishima jumps and turns around. Yamaguchi shoves past him into the pot, immediately kneeling down next to it and taking in the mess. Yamaguchi? Yamaguchi frantically starts collecting the clay pieces around him. You didn't get here fast enough. He almost sobs the words out. Tsukishima, taken aback by the tone of Yamaguchi's voice, grips the wall next to him. What? What's wrong? Damn it, you were too slow. You always are. When will you just get the hint? He runs past Tsukishima, throwing the shards into the trash can before running back to continue picking the debris. Tsukishima takes a step forward, and when he does, Yamaguchi's head whips around to stare daggers at him. He stops in his tracks. What's wrong with you? Why are you so upset about this? Yamaguchi scoops up soil into his palms. Whatever. I can't keep putting in all the effort, it's too late now. Too late for what? Yamaguchi grabs a flower petal, turns, and holds it out accusingly at Tsukishima. It's a light yellow. This. Too late for this, Tsuki. You waited too long and now everything's gone and broken and it's your fault. I didn't know it would break. I didn't even know that damn flower pot was there until a minute ago. That's not my problem anymore. Yamaguchi huffs, standing up and shoving Tsukishima out of the doorway with his elbow. His palms are still holding a handful of dirt. Go home. Are you serious? You're going to kick me out because of some dirt? A couple of flowers. I don't expect you to understand. Just go. Tsukishima, unable to think straight, turns on his heel and stomps to the door. He curls his fingers tightly around the handle. He sees red. Fine. I don't feel like dealing with this right now anyways. You never have. With that, Tsukishima violently opens the door, not sparing another glance behind him before he steps out of the frame. When his foot touches the concrete on the other side, he feels a sharp pain run through his head and he finds himself immediately shooting up in bed, eyes blown wide, hand gripping his forehead instead of a handle. The pain quickly fades and he drops his hand to the covers beneath him, letting out an annoyed sigh. This dream is the first one that's successfully made his heart race. The broken clay, yelling at his friend, stomping over to the door, everything about it made him feel guilty. Not that he has anything to feel guilty over. Dream him was the one who yelled back, and Dream Yamaguchi was the one that sobbed at the flower that meant so much to him. Not real. Speaking of, why did that flower mean so much? Although the memory is fleeting, Tsukishima can figure it's some sort of metaphor pertaining to his current situation, and decides he'll decipher it as a warning later on. His phone is quiet, and the light shining into his room is faded and dull, letting him know it's only the early hours of the morning, before the birds have gotten the chance to sing their songs. Exasperated, frustrated, and groggy, Tsukishima stands up out of his bed and opens the door to grab a glass of water. Full stop. Tsukishima still feels sick when he's shoving his shirt down over his head after practice. Most of the team has exited the club room, and he feels like a snail as he's zipping up his duffel bag and lifting it up slowly to his shoulder. He thinks he's alone when he hears the door slam shut behind him again, but he's immediately proven wrong when he, once again, hears the clank of thin metal across the room. It's your mom's birthday tomorrow, right? Tsukishima turns around, squinting at Yamaguchi as he stretches his limbs. Yeah. Yamaguchi has always insisted on getting something for the Tsukishima's birthdays. Tsukishima always purposefully avoided telling his friend when one was coming up in order to avoid the hassle, but Yamaguchi always remembered. Wanna go to the florist's with me? I wanna get her a rose or something. Yamaguchi cranes his head, flashing a smile. Tsukishima's heart jumps in his chest. I just went there with Akitaru yesterday. Yamaguchi lifts his own matching bag to rest on his shoulder. He moves along the room and pushes open the door slightly. So you don't want to come? Tsukishima was tired, but he hardly had any homework that night, and passing on an opportunity to test out the flower theory was beyond him. I'll come. They begin their walk to the florist's, Yamaguchi rambling about math while Tsukishima listens quietly with his headphones around his neck. Both he and Yamaguchi are in college prep classes, so hearing his friend rant about the stress he usually kept internalized was almost comforting, in a way. Don't even get me started on English. What happened with English this time? Yachi was busy with something, so Hinata and Kageyama asked me for help. I already warned them I was bad, but they insisted. Yamaguchi pulls his phone out, squinting at the screen before promptly cramming it back in his pocket. It was a nightmare. They kept trying to encourage me, but I could tell I was just making them even more confused. He covers his face with his palms, groaning into them. It was so embarrassing. I felt so bad. That's what they get for not heeding your warning. Tsukishima turns, pushing open the door to the florist's shop. He lets Yamaguchi walk in and then lets go, the door closing behind him as he steps in. Nothing has changed. Not that anything would. It's been a day. The walls are still decorated with dark green vines, bright white and purple lights shining down on the various plants. Yamaguchi's eyes light up as he scans the shop, holding a plant's large leaves in between two delicate fingers. He lightly pets the plant, which Tsukishima finds a bit odd, but he's grown used to seeing Yamaguchi's innate passion for nature in action over the years. Look at how cute this one is, Yamaguchi coos. Tsukishima leans over Yamaguchi's shoulder to observe the plant in front of them. It's a small succulent, leaves a mix of brown and light green, small drops of water resting on the plant. It looks normal. Dart? Yeah, super cute. He awkwardly rocks back, putting his hands in his pockets. Can we get the flower and go? Yamaguchi sets the pot in his hand back on the clear plastic shelf, looking around the store and spotting an employee in the corner, walking towards them. Tsukishima walks closely behind. Yamaguchi slides a quick glance at Tsukishima. What's the name of the flower we found again? Tsukishima covers up a splutter with a stiff cough. Dart? Primrose? Tsukishima is cut off with a quick nod from Yamaguchi, smiling at the employee as they near. The employee sets a couple more plants down on the stand in front of them before turning to the two boys, a small smile on their face as well. Hi. Anything I can help you with? Do you have any primroses? The employee seems to ponder for a second. Tsukishima is about to speak up, say they don't before the worker opens their mouth. We got some today, actually. Over here. They begin walking to the other side of the shop, and Yamaguchi happily follows. Tsukishima is dumbfounded. The employee kneels down, pulling out a couple of pots from the bottom of a shelf and placing them down on the wooden edge of a flower bed. They are all different colors, ranging from a vibrant pink to light lilac. Tsukishima can only look on in shock as Yamaguchi admires the petals, picking up the pots and holding them up to the light, smiling. Do you have a restroom? The employee looks up from the flower they are inspecting and points behind them to a single green door. Tsukishima stalks forwards, pushing open the door and walking into the tiled bathroom. Once the clicking of the door is heard, he lets his head fall back, hitting the cold wall. There isn't any more denying it. Every time he's with Yamaguchi he sees the same goddamn flower, and every time the same Reddit reply pops into his head. They didn't have primroses yesterday. They weren't expecting any. And then, just suddenly, he knows what he has to do, and although he's afraid, he's almost more willing to get rejected than to endure the torture of knowing every day. A couple of minutes later, when he's collected himself, Tsukishima steps outside of the bathroom. Yamaguchi leans off of the wall next to the door, a paper bag hanging from his fist. While you were inside I got some daisies. You think she'll like it? Tsukishima turns, heading over to one of the flower beds. Yeah, daisies are her favorite. Really? I didn't know. Tsukishima picks up a plastic-wrapped flower from a small compartment jutting out from the side of the flower bed. The flower is the regular pastel yellow, the plastic shining various rainbow shades in the light. There's a bright thin ribbon around the base of the head. He turns, grazing Yamaguchi as he walks over to the counter and pulls out his wallet from his pocket. As he pays, Yamaguchi observes from the side, occasionally glancing down to his own purchase still in his hand. Once Tsukishima is done, both of the boys walk out of the store. The sky above them is now a light gray, clouds covering the normal light blue. Their footsteps are muted by the sidewalk. It's gonna rain soon, Yamaguchi observes. Tsukishima replies with a quiet hum. They continue to walk side by side in silence. There's a thick air between them, and Tsukishima doesn't know if it's just him or if the feeling is mutual. Every time he tries to steal a glimpse of Yamaguchi, Yamaguchi is looking right back, and they both have to awkwardly look away and pretend like they didn't just catch each other staring. Tsukishima grips the flower in his hand a little tighter each time. There's a lump in his throat. He wants to get down on one knee and confess in the rain like in the movies. Well, want is a strong word. More like he has the urge to. Unfortunately, there is no rain, and no matter how desperate he is, he's absolutely not destroying his pride like that either. So, when they are alone, on a long stretch of sidewalk, Tsukishima stops. After a couple of seconds, Yamaguchi notices there's no longer a presence beside him and he turns around, making eye contact with Tsukishima. This time it lasts longer than a couple of seconds and neither of them look away in embarrassment. Tsukishima twiddles his fingers, one hand still holding the stem of a flower and the other feeling incredibly empty. He sighs, holding the pastel yellow flower in front of him. I like you. Deafening silence. Tsukishima feels like his feet are wrapped in concrete, stuck to the ground. He feels unbelievably tense and he almost wants to make a run for it. Maybe he would. If he wasn't stuck. He wants to say something, maybe salvage the situation, laugh, and pretend it was a joke. The faint rumble of thunder is heard in the distance, and a smile cracks along Yamaguchi's face. Tsukishima is pulled out of his thoughts as he refocuses his eyes, catching the sight of his friend laughing into his hand. Yamaguchi steps forwards, hands closing around the petals of the flower still in Tsukishima's hand. I was getting worried you didn't. Tsukishima blinks. What? Yamaguchi's eyes flutter open, and there is nothing but fondness and relief reflecting in them. I've been seeing these flowers every time we hang out for like a month. I was worried you knew but just didn't feel the same way. Dart? Wait, so you've known about them all this time? Yes. I kept trying to drop hints in hopes that you would say something. Dart? I didn't realize anything until a couple of days ago. Yamaguchi laughs, shaking his head as he stares down at the yellow cup in his hands. You're so dense. So, you could have said something this whole time. But instead, you just gave me vague hints until I caught on. I was scared you would be weirded out. Yamaguchi's smile doesn't waver as he gently lifts the flower out of Tsukishima's hands. The brown bag hanging off his wrist bumps Tsukishima's elbow in the process. Do you know what these flowers mean when you give them to someone? Did you ever look it up? Tsukishima gives a quiet, almost guilty shake of his head. Yamaguchi takes a light inhale. When you give a primrose to someone, it means you can't live without them. That you want to be with them forever. They represent young love. He looks up, wearing a wide smile that makes the corner of his eyes crinkle and his freckles stretch. I wouldn't mind being with you forever. Even though the sky above them is cloudy, Tsukishima feels blinded by the metaphorical sun that shines from behind Yamaguchi. He tries his best to catch his bearings. That sounded stupid. Yamaguchi laughs. You're more stupid. He opens his arms, stepping forward and engulfing Tsukishima in a tight hug. Tsukishima immediately relaxes underneath the touch and he brings his arms forwards to embrace his friend, crush, back. I like you too, by the way. Tsukishima sighs, letting his head rock down and rest on Yamaguchi's shoulder. His hesitation this whole time was for naught, as just a step away stood the sun, the stars, and everything encompassing his vision with open arms. And all it took was a flower. Good. I was getting worried.
And that was part 3. I hope you liked it. Again, I do apologize for the wait. By the time you're watching this, there's a good chance the story has already been uploaded as a one-shot in AO3, so if you ever feel like looking back on the story for whatever reason, there's easy access to it there. Now that this is uploaded, I'll be working on a new story. As you know, especially if you're watching this, it's gonna take a while to write. As I said before, I try to keep this channel more long story fix centered rather than short challenges or whatever you usually see with texting videos. Anyways, that's everything. As always, my socials will be linked in the description, and I hope you have a wonderful day or night.